Hey guys, it's Melissa here from Reiki with Melissa. I wanted to talk to you guys today about being gentle and kind with yourself. So the guidance that I was given is that there are so many of us who are trying to improve our lives, improve ourselves. That makes sense this time of year especially. We're still kind of in the new year where we've all set new intentions, or if you want to call them resolutions, call them what you will, but we've all set things, goals that we want to achieve for the next year. And it's so easy for us to stumble, fall off, have a misstep, and then immediately we start going to this negative place where we blame ourselves, or we start talking so negatively to ourselves and talking down to ourselves and saying things like, well, you failed again, or how could you do that? Or we're so hard on ourselves. We're way harder on ourselves than anybody else could ever be. And the message that I was being guided to give you is that when we fall, when we stumble, when I just keep seeing fall off the wagon. And I don't know if that's a specific message for some people or not. But that's just what I keep hearing is fall off the wagon. So, I know that's usually a term we use whenever somebody is drinking again or doing drugs if they have stopped. So I don't know, maybe that is because it's for someone specifically. Maybe somebody needed to hear that. But I'm here to tell you that we all stumble and we all fall. We all have different vices. We all have different areas where we'd like to improve. And when we make a misstep, we all have a choice. We can either stay down on the ground and then just say, this is too difficult, I'm never going to get it, and this is never going to get any better. Or we can choose to flip the script and we can stop talking to ourselves so negatively. We can stop putting ourselves down, and we can realize that we are human beings. We're supposed to mess up. We're supposed to fall. As weird as that sounds, we are supposed to do that. Because if we were perfect all of the time, what would we be learning? Nothing. And life would be super boring. So the fact that we are messing up says that we are human and we're doing the job that we were designed to do. It is our job to screw up sometimes, because it's through those moments that we can make ourselves better. We learn what we did wrong and to not do it again. And the thing is, the thing that keeps us from being successful isn't the fact that we've fallen. It's the fact that we choose not to get back up again and not to try again. So many times when people fall, when they set a goal for themselves and they don't reach that goal, let's say that they had a New Year's resolution that they wanted to lose weight. Okay, because that's a pretty common one for a lot of people. Or I want to get to the gym more often. I'm going to join the gym. How many times do people say their New Year's resolution is to join a gym and to keep going regularly? And what happens? You'll be very faithful the first couple of weeks, and you go every day and you feel great about yourself. And then you have a bad week where it's busy and you don't get there. And so then that negative self-talk starts kicking in. We start saying things like, you could have made time. What are you doing? You're already failing. You've already gotten off track. And here's the deal. To me, it's not an all or nothing kind of thing. Just because you have a bad week, it doesn't mean that you scrap everything and that you just stop. Okay, you had a bad week. So what? So you can keep going. Tomorrow is a brand new day, and it's a chance for you to do something different. And even if you didn't make your goal, it's not the end of the world. But you keep talking to yourself negatively, and so that is what keeps building. And we keep blocking our own abundance because we are being too hard on ourselves. Does it really help you to sit there and think about what a failure you are? I don't think that's doing anything positive for you. It doesn't do anything at all. Not in a positive way. What it will do is it will cause you to continue to talk to yourself that way. And what we tend to focus on is what we end up manifesting, because the energy that we're putting out is the energy that we're getting back. So if you keep putting out energy that you're a failure, that you're not good at anything, that you never finish anything, what do you think you're going to get back? And you wonder why you're not seeing positive improvement in your life, because you're still talking to yourself like crap. And we're all guilty of it. You have to be positively conscious of what you're saying to yourself in order to stop doing it. And I sit here telling you this knowing that I do it to myself sometimes too still. I still have to make a conscious effort to stop my thoughts mid-thought. And I say rewind, delete, because we don't want to give that thought any power. In the middle of that negative thought, it's rewind, delete, and then replace it with 3 positive thoughts. If you choose to tend to dwell on the negative things in life, that's what you're going to call in. Bad things happen to everybody. It's not like people who are successful and super positive don't have bad things that happen to them. Of course they do. And do they fall? Of course they do. But there's a difference. The difference is the people who are successful and positive choose not to let the times they fall define who they are. And they choose not to do that negative self-talk if they happen to fall, because they know that that isn't helping them. That is not going to get them to their goals, and quitting isn't going to get them to their goals either. They also realize that tomorrow is a new day and a new chance to start fresh. You may have been on this diet, or you may have been clean and sober for 20 days, and then all of a sudden you fall. It may even have been a longer time than that. And trust me, when you've been working towards a goal and you're so good and you've done so well, and then all of a sudden you fall, it can be crushing if you let it. Or you can say to yourself, okay, it's one day out of this however many days I've had where I've been on track and I've met my goal. It's one day. That one day is not going to be the day that defines me. I have the ability to see that I'm human and I'm going to make mistakes, but I have a choice here. Do I quit and start talking to myself like I'm the worst person alive? Or do I get back up again, start again, take the lesson that I learned from that fall, and decide to start talking to myself like the hero that I am? Because I truly believe people who get back up again after having gotten knocked down so many times are truly heroes. Because you see it all of the time. You see people who never get back up again. Maybe they tried to go after their dream and they failed one time and then they just quit. But if you're continuously getting back up again, making adjustments, changing the way you talk to yourself, trying to encourage yourself, then you're a hero in my book. Because that's not easy to do. It would be much easier to quit. But the fact that you haven't says a lot about you. And I think that you're all capable of reaching your goals. We have everything we need within us to achieve our goals. The only thing stopping us is us. We are the only things that get in our way. Because we decide that, well, it's not that we decide we're going to get in our own way. It's just habit. And it's easier just to talk to yourself that way because you do it all of the time. It's harder to change your thought process, to change your mindset, to change the way that you talk to yourself. That's harder to do. Because I don't know anyone who was taught to speak so highly of themselves. Because most people would say, well, you're just a narcissist because you think you're just so great. No, you know what? That's not being a narcissist. That's how we should all be. But instead, we were all taught to do the opposite, which was to put ourselves down And for some of us, I think we do it as a defense mechanism. It's like, well, I'm going to go ahead and put myself down so others can't beat me to it. And that's so sad that we do that, because we don't have to do that. We should be proud of who we are. We should be talking up who we are, because if we were able to just tap into the love that God has for us and the love of the universe and all of the support that we have, we would probably just break down and cry at how beautiful it is. But instead, we sit there and some of us actually think that the universe is out to get us, when that cannot be farther from the truth. The truth is that yes, we are tested. Yes, we are given situations to see how we handle them. That's not because the universe is against us. It's because the universe wants us to be better and for us to see what God already sees in us, and is that we were perfect and we have everything we need just as we are. And we just need to stop doubting ourselves. This made me, think of something. One of the teachers that I worked with the other day asked me to go into the band room and just watch the band while he had to go run an errand, because, we don't want to leave students by themselves. And, of course, at first I was like, okay, now I have to give up part of my prep to go do this. But, it's not that I minded, because, I like the teacher, and I've had to ask that before of other teachers. And it was just, I was thinking of all the things I had to do. But I walked into the band room and immediately realized that almost all of the students I had in class at one time or another are currently having class. So I was just kind of watching them and observing, what they were doing. And of course, the great thing is when you walk in, they're like, what are you doing here? And so excited to see you. And I was just observing, because I was just asked to watch the class. So I wasn't really interacting with them as much as I was just standing back and watching. And when you watch the kids and how passionate they are about the music that they play, and some of them, you can tell like they've messed up. I'm not by any means an expert in the field of music. I can sing, but I've never studied music. But you can kind of see and hear when a student makes a mistake. But the funny thing is, you can just see that it's not a big deal to them. They just go on and do something else, and they do it again, and no big deal. And as I was sitting there observing them, and they were laughing and just having a great time, which is another thing that just, I love seeing that in a classroom, because you just don't always see it that often. But seeing that they didn't have a care in the world, that to me was how we should be. Like when we go through life, and not that you're not going to have a care in the world, I don't mean it like that, but if something happens to you, we've got to learn to shake it off, pick ourselves up, dust ourselves off, and say that this is not going to define who I am, and it's not going to define my day. When I talked the other day in my podcast about how I started off having a really bad morning and all of these things kept happening to me, until finally I said, you know what, that's enough. I'm not letting it get to me anymore. If other things happen to me, that's fine. That's kind of out of my control. But what I can control is my attitude, and I'm not going to have a bad one. I'm not going to let this define my day. I'm not going to let it change what I have to do and who I am or how I treat other people. And my day was totally turned around. And so I think that that's a good example for anyone who's fallen down, to realize that that doesn't define you. That is not your defining moment. Don't stay down and continue to have a bad day or continue to have a bad week, month, whatever it is, because you made one mistake. Learn to talk to yourself differently. What I'd like you to do when you have time, and I know some people listen to this while they're driving, which is fine, just come back to this later. And this will be 14 minutes in. Just know to come back to this. I want you to write down in your journal or in a notebook. I want you to write all of the things that you catch yourself saying about yourself and to yourself. And I really want you to look at what it is you're saying, because I'll bet that you're beating yourself up pretty badly sometimes. And I want you to start getting into the habit of catching yourself. And it takes practice because you first have to realize you're doing it. We do it without even thinking about it. That's the scary thing. Our brain just goes on autopilot and starts saying horrible things about us to ourselves without thinking. Start catching yourself as you are thinking these things. And I want you to say, rewind, delete. And you're going to replace all of those negative things. And you can do this on paper too. When you write down your negative comments, like, I'm so stupid, I want you to write next to it, I'm so capable, I'm so smart, I am so talented. You're going to replace that one thought with 3 positives about it. And eventually, I'd love for you to tear up the column with the bad comments you told yourself and burn it, or just tear it up. Because you're not going to give those thoughts power any longer. And you're going to start learning to catch them as they come out. And you're going to switch what you say. We're going to flip the script and you're going to rewrite your story because you're not going to be the victim anymore. Playing the victim is going to block you from your abundance because you're calling in all of the things you don't want. When you dwell on all the things you don't have, you're calling in more of that stuff. When you start showing gratitude for all the things you do have, you start calling in more things to be grateful for. So get into the habit of replacing your negative thoughts with positives. And before you even get out of bed each day, just think to yourself at least 3 to 4 things that you're grateful for. And I know you can come up with even more than that. But it sets the tone for the whole day when you think about all of the things you already have and are so grateful for. And when you're thankful for it and you say thank you to the universe because we are expecting more and we're calling in more. So I would really urge you to do that. And most importantly, please don't beat yourself up when you fall down or when you trip or you fall off the wagon. You're a human being. It's going to happen. Life is all about a series of trials and error. You know, nobody gets it perfect the first time. It's okay to fall. Just get up again and try again and encourage yourself because I believe in you and I know you can do it. I fall all the time. I just make sure I don't stay there. So I hope that you guys have a wonderful day. If you're really struggling with this negative self-talk, think about joining my program, A Purposeful Pilgrimage, because I give you other tips on how to flip the script and stop talking to yourself that way. I teach you how to get rid of those limiting beliefs that are keeping you small and stuck. I teach you how to love yourself more. And that's really the basis for everything is self-love. We really have to know and believe that we are worthy and deserving of love, of money, of all the things that we deserve. It's ourselves that are keeping us stuck. So check out my program. I even have payment plans. If you can't afford a one-time payment, you can divide it up into different payments. And if you are interested in Reiki, check out my website for that as well, or a card reading. I'm still doing my Facebook Lives. I try to do it every Tuesday and Wednesday now, but oh my gosh, it seems like every week something comes up. So I super appreciate those of you who show up anyway, who just kind of watch for me to go live, because I'm trying to be consistent, but it is super, super hard, especially having teenagers at home. So Tuesdays and Wednesdays are the normal days that I go live. This week I had to go live Wednesday and Thursday, but you can catch me Thursday night at 7 Central. And I am doing card readings on the first live of the week. Second live of the week is usually a guided meditation, but I was also asked to do some exercises with you to help you sharpen your intuition. So I'm going to be doing that this week as well. And remember that you don't have to be there live to be selected for a card reading. I do select people live on the Facebook Live for card readings, but I also select people who watch it on the replay If you type replay and type a message to me to let me know you were there and you were watching, I will select those people for a reading as well. So I hope that you guys have an awesome day, and I am sending you massive love and light. I will be talking to you. Oh, no. I almost forgot. See, human, made a mistake, but I'm not beating myself up over it. I just know that I got so excited talking about the lives, I almost forgot. I pulled a card for you all, and I wanted to read that before I left. So the card that I pulled for you is, I love and accept myself. And that is a great mantra that you can say every day to yourself. I love and accept myself. You can even do EFT tappings to try to work through the emotions you're feeling. But the extended reading on that is, look in the mirror and say, I love and accept myself exactly as I am. When I accept all of myself, I am whole and healed. And that is the absolute truth, guys. That's how you heal yourself, is when you love yourself. When you love yourself deeply and completely, and when we forgive ourselves and forgive others, that is the true basis of healing anything. So every day, get in the habit of looking in the mirror and saying, I love and accept myself exactly as I am. And when you love yourself, others see that love within you as well. And they're not going to see it as narcissism. They're going to see it as someone who's giving off a positive vibe and has light shining all through them. And you are the light for others. And others may be looking at you and saying, how do I get like so-and-so? How am I going to make myself as attractive as that person or as positive as that person? They see the positive in you. So get in the habit of doing that, saying that every day. I am sending you massive love and light, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.